Hello, welcome back. We're gonna do another whiteboard video. We're gonna just generally talk about linebackers and stuff. Last week's video, I talked at the end that I was just gonna blah 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 over stuff until I get comments. I explained stuff well, and I got one actually just last night, or this morning, and yeah, that was actually pretty cool. My name's Theo. I play middle linebacker for the Hilversum Hurricanes. That is in Europe. That is in the Netherlands. That is east of England. And the league is the AFBN, the American Football Bond Nederland. Explaining this every single time, yada yada. Just to make sure that all the bases are covered, that I am currently recording this at 12:42 in the afternoon, and that means it's like 3 a.m. on the west coast of the United States and almost 7 in the morning for the East Coast on Sunday for you guys. So yeah, anyways, as I start all these videos, I do comment responses to the football videos, questions of football, yada yada. From actual last video where I was talking about linebackers, so let's talk about linebackers. One person, hey, hi, me, response, hello. Another person, hi. People don't get back to their comments very well, but it was Trent Football and Daniel Smith. Both said hi. Tim Young's been very busy in the comments. I had a video the next day from that video, and he was, definitely talking about weight issues, about linebacker and whatnot. Long conversations about that one. On my Nike cleat comparison, someone said, are the best Viva Chili? Not sure if that's for football or soccer. Those cleats that I was observing on the Nike cleat comparison were for American football. May 11th, 2018. Wow, that was like 3 months before I moved here. Anyways, Nike Vapor Shark 2 review. Cleats again. Same person. Yes, but that was the week before at May 4th, 2018. Oh, I remember that time. I was trying to keep the whole move a secret, so I was doing very few videos on YouTube as is. Another exactly same worded comment on that ladder drills for football players. Pony up the money there, Mr. Training System, and I'll figure out about whether or not it's good for American football, even though you use the word soccer in your comment multiple times. It's a spam comment, and I like it, but I'm not going to review a training system that's for soccer as an American football player until somebody pays me. I6 Solm says I'm probably going to buy the shoulder pads. How much do you weigh so I can at least compare me to what size I should get? And I'm like, I'm a bit over 100 kilos. I don't own a scale, so I don't have an exact number. And in terms of shoulder pads, my weight's not there. I got big legs. Everyone's like, wow, look at those arms. Like, someone said, wow, those are big arms. And I'm like, they are? Really? They seem kind of twinky. And then Big 50, this 2 hours ago. Keep doing these videos. We like them. You give us good info and explain well. Which is why I'm doing this video again. And yeah, that's pretty much that. In terms of news for football for the Netherlands, there was something that the government put down about being able to open up football practice or sport practice training, but no competitions for people under the age of 27. Unless you're in a very large city with a very prosperous youth team, you usually don't start playing football until 18. American football until 18. And I know a lot of people on my team who went through all the other sports and then decided, let's play American football in like the last 5 years. So I would have to say 2/3 of our receivers are over 27. I think all of our linebackers and our linemen are all over 27, and our quarterbacks, I don't know, I think backup quarterback is like 28. So yeah, I don't think my team's going to be getting back to practice anytime soon. That's pretty bad when you're like, okay, well, let's open up until under the age of 18. Okay, let's do under basically U27. That involves a lot of players. Yeah, for every other sport but American football. Sorry for that little word there, but it's frustrating how the Dutch are doing this. Although we are like the 29 millionth most popular sport in this country, because there are 28.999999999 million other sports going ahead of us in popularity. Nobody knows we exist. Oh, you play on a rugby field? No, it's an American football field. Stop. Okie dokie. I love magnets. So I can draw a line. As of last video, I realized I'm really bad at doing this the first time around. So if we skip ahead, it's because I'm done drawing the line. Okay, now that we fast forwarded to the point where I've got, you know what, come down here. Thanks. It's magnets, but that's okay. So, I understand last week that I had the tackle in the wrong spot. I had him over there because I was thinking of spelling the word enta. And I didn't realize that till I was editing. So, we're going to put the actual, this in order, as you would probably have. So, as we talked about last week, just generally who is what and what happens with them. We're going to stick with the same color scheme. If I bring in the strong safety, we'll bring out red. We're not using green because I don't know how colorblind y'all are. Screws me up on this board. Alright. So, the reason why the line, we're zoomed in just to the box. These guys are significantly closer than they are. I mean, it's for illustration purposes. So, in this example, the Sam is kind of a floater for the run. He will kind of swing over towards the middle and play clean up for anything that gets through. The Will's doing that, the Mike's doing that, end, tackle, nose, end. So you can see that every hole is plugged. And if anything happens to get through, Sam's there to help clean up. We went over this last video. Now this time I'm going to be talking about stunting for the D-line. Again, this goes back to what I was kind of leading into at the end of the last explanation was that you need to know your playbook. Let's go with my old team. We used, we'll do this one. So the thing is, these are not set in positions, but again, there's different orientations. There's also a possible tight end that can be out here, and that we're going with very basics here because otherwise I'm going to fall down a rabbit hole. The generalized idea is that the nose, if he's a good enough guy, could actually possibly take both of these guys on. If he can actually take both of them on and take on a double team by himself, then that leaves the Mike in this hole and the Will in that hole free reign, because the end has this guy, the tackle has that guy, and the end has that guy. But even so, if the Mike takes the center, the nose takes that guy, the end takes this guy, but comes in on this side and pushes him out that way or makes him run that way, this is an open hole and the Will can go in and just mess things up. And this works based on whatever the design of the play is. Now, when it comes down to stunting, that can be a whole line stunt or a singular stunt. My previous playbooks have had whole line stunts. And that basically means that we're having a weak side stunt, which means the end does the end. He can't go more weak side than he already is. But that means the nose then is going in that hole, the tackle is going in that hole, the end is going in that hole. The Will no longer has the hole in this situation, so he becomes the floater. The Sam takes the end, and since the nose is no longer in that hole, the mic goes in that hole. Make sense? Whatever your coach names it, like it could be, I don't know, I can't even, there's any naming schemes, you know? You could call it after superheroes. I've been watching WandaVision recently, so I'm thinking Scarlet Witch. You can yell Scarlet, 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 and that means all the line is going to go to the strong side. You can yell witch, 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 and they're all going to go to the weak side. Like, that's just something off the top of my head that you could name it. And, you know, that's just an example. And so you would have, like, you know, Scarlet, Mike A, cover 2. For instance. So that would mean that the mic is absolutely blitzing the A-hole. So that means that the mic is blitzing that A-gap rather than doing his read steps and checking the run. Now with a stunt, you can have a blitz because that way if the nose starts here, he can push that guy out of the way and that the tackle can come over here and pose a threat and maybe take on these two guys, and that leaves an open hole for the mic. That's just an option for this to run. Again, I'm just throwing out ideas so I can get in the mindset and you guys can get in the mindset of the box. You know, so in this case, you know, now we're going to erase some stuff here. Tried to fill that in as best I could. So if you've got a whole stunt line to the left, to the strong side, it gets funky because then you've got these two guys in these two gaps. So the end doesn't really move because they don't have anywhere to go, per se. They can go further out and take, again, like if there's a tight end here, they would go outside the tight end rather than be head up on the tight end. That's the option there. This doesn't quite, Here, we'll do this because T-E. There. I can barely see that, but hopefully that will work. So in a strong side stunt, if you yell out Scarlet, Scarlet in the same situations, the end would come around here, the tackle would come out here, the nose would be here, and the end would be here. That means the will would go that way, and the mic would go there, and that the Sam would probably have down there. Because if the end is leaving this hole, then the will's got to go there. The nose is leaving this hole, so the mic's got to go there. And the tackle's going over here, that means that hole's open, Sam's got to go there. Everybody has a responsibility in this one, but again, we're also dealing with the tight end, so there's technically another hole. So that means all the linebackers have to get involved. If there is no tight end there and you still cause a strong call, I don't personally know why one would do that. Just that it would get the end and the nose to shift over one, possibly. So in case, and there's also other stunts. There's like, we had one of my previous teams, which was the Cobras actually. We had Viper and I think it was Cobra. It was Cobra and it was Viper. Anyways, and it was simply what I thought is Viper was, because you get this, so it was the nose and the tackle are both going in the A gaps, and that means these guys. My team now, we just call it a double A. Because they're talking about that one, not the battery. So that means that the tackle would actually line up here. And in this case, the Sam, Mike, float. Cleanup crew. This would also be a great time, perhaps if you had the Sam blitzing that B gap. The tackle might line up and then push him into here and basically block this hole with that guy. Use the guard to block the hole with the center. And then, you know, it's possible in theory. Like, if you got really good physical guys, these guys may be able to line up directly up and then step to the side and push them in and like sandwich the center. To be fair, the center could probably run straight forward, but then you've got massive guys here, a Sam blitzing and the Will picking this up, and then the Mike can just, you know, get out of the way of a center. I haven't seen that here in the Netherlands specifically happen, but it is in theory something that could happen. It's tricky because if the running back is directly on the tail of the center, then you've got, you basically just like pop the running back out like a pimple. And then on top of that, you've got other kinds where you've got like these two guys are going in double B gap, which means that the mic, so if these guys are in double B, the nose is there, the tackle's there. Now, depending on your defense, the will may be bounced out, but it would probably be, in this case, it might be the Sam taking here and the Mike taking here, because you could kind of shift over a little bit. The will usually, if there's a tight end out here, then you have the Sam taking that, and that's a bit of an issue. So the Mike and the will would come in and take the two gaps here. But again, when you've got a blitz, you've got your defensive lineman working to open a hole for them. And that's been some issues with me in the past. I haven't put 2 and 2 together and didn't have faith in the lineman because I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't know my playbook. I mean, I did, but I doubted the playbook. We'll put the nose there and the tackle there, back to normal position. But that's basically stunting and how things work out. We didn't do any of the shifting that's necessary, as in like the will has to bounce out. If there's a case where the Sam has to bounce out because the tight end or there's a slot way over here, there's nothing really has to shift because you've got these two holes. The only reason you'd shift is because the will is way over there and there's technically no one on this hole. So the Mike bounces to here, the Sam bounces to here, and that the strong safety would come in and kind of cover this area. Otherwise it gets a pain in the butt for the Sam to get all the way over here to their coverage zone. So the strong safety takes up that one. But again, we're also looking at like, we're dealing with like a trip situation over here that doesn't involve a tight end. I mean, that's possible, but that's for a different, we can talk about that one next week if that's interesting enough. Thumbs up if that's a cool thing. But yeah, so like I said, if the will bounces out, then everybody shifts. But if the Sam has to bounce out, it doesn't really change much of anything. Because again, you've got both of these covered and the Mike's already covering this and the will's already covering that. So it's like, what? But then you have to, like I said, but that's the key to knowing the playbook. Like I said, I know my playbook. I can look at huddle and I go, yep, I got it. But intrinsically knowing it and putting it on the field, that's what makes the linebackers the next level. Like, oh yeah, I love running and hitting something. Yeah, cool, we got sleds over there, go do that. But if you don't know your playbook, if you don't know that the nose is going that way, you know, he's crossing face, and the end is going that way, and the will, you know, and that the Mike's going this way. But if you still think you're going for this gap, you're running into the end's butt, and then the running back can be like, yee, wee, all the way home. And that's not a good thing. So yeah, we don't really want that one to happen. So again, this is mostly for linebackers. I know I talked about linemen, but this is when the linemen are doing things that are not in their gap. And they can definitely show a lot of things that are not, they can line up in their regular hole, but you have to know that the stunt is going that direction, because his stunt, he's not taking a step to this way and then going that way. He's pushing the center that way. The end is probably pushing this guy that way, and the will is coming around. That's like, it's all a delicate dance, and if you don't know your part, you can cause the whole thing to collapse. So when people are like, what's the best thing for a linebacker? Know your playbook. Know exactly what's happening, because this is an intricate dance that happens in 1 to 2 seconds. 1 to 1.5 seconds, if that. And you just gotta know it. How do you know it? Well, you gotta know this. You gotta know the where the arrows, the X's and O's go, and then you need to be able to react that way. This, you know, your test is a game. Your practice tests are practice, but you need to hone the instincts so that you aren't thinking in the game about where's your hole. Maybe the momentary check of like, okay, so Scarlett, it's like Scarlet cover 2. Scarlet 2 is what they're calling it. I don't know. We're just staying with the same example. So that means that everything's going to the strong side, and that Mike, and that the will has to go to the outside. The Mike has to go to the weak A rather than the strong A. Intrinsic that you're like Scarlet. Gotcha. Scarlet Mike A cover 2. Really, the cover 2 is just, we'll go over that one next week. I will catch you guys later. We'll cover generalized coverage areas and what to do with like bouncing outside the box.